countertop is so messy. Like, who puts white countertops in a kitchen? Good morning. Yeah, that's all I got. Good morning. Welcome to my kitchen. It's Saturday. Saturday Kitchen Convos, where I talk about what I want to talk about. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's messy, and sometimes I cry. Merry Christmas to those of you who celebrate. You're probably wondering, like, why in the world am I in my kitchen on a Saturday when I'm supposed to be at my mom's house? So let me tell you why. The state of Wisconsin issued an advisory around COVID, specifically Omicron, I think is how you say it. So that came out, I think like the 20th, maybe, maybe the 19th or 20th. It must have been the 20th. Yeah, because my birthday was Tuesday, the 21st. I'm pretty sure it was the 20th. Around, they're not like, oh, don't go anywhere, whatever, but recommending, being tested before you go see family and friends and all this stuff. And I'm fine with that. But I quickly realized that I can't get a test here like easily. So you have to like schedule it. It's like 4 days, like all this nonsense. And so I talked to my mom and I was like, what do you think here? Because where my mom lives, they have the highest rates right now of COVID in the entire state, and they have limited hospital capacity and all of those things. And I say that kind of like, and I told my mom this too, and I don't always know what to believe, right? Because I think there's a lot of spin on a lot of the information that's being put out there, because it's political, right? So there's a little bit of, I think, I don't want to say fear mongering because it is very serious, but I also feel that sometimes they'll say like, oh, we don't have any room in the hospitals, but it isn't necessarily because of COVID. It's because of other things, right? And so I think there's a little bit of level of dishonesty on some stuff, but it's still terrible, right? So anyway, I talked to my mom and I was like, how are you feeling about this? And she's like, well, if you get tested, then I should probably get tested. And I was like, well, right, and the other part of this is that, like, you can have it and it's not going to show up in a test for 3 days. And so I'm going to spend 3 days with my mom and then maybe test positive for something that I didn't know I had on day 3. And then my mom's got it. You know what I mean? Like, so it's a little weird, especially because this variation seems to be more contagious, but less serious. Is that right? Anyway, so I decided not to go home, and I was only going to be home for like 3 days anyway. So, and I don't have to now disrupt Kitty because he's still on antibiotics for his sinus infection and his tummy's upset. So I'm still giving him his metronidazole for his tummy. So it's in between like antibiotics. He gets that. Like, he doesn't want to be in the car. He doesn't want to be hanging out with my mom's dog. Like, that's not a thing. So we're hanging out here for Christmas, which is totally fine because I was actually here last year for Christmas as well. And I was up north quite a bit this last year because my dad died, right? And that was not expected. So I think I was up north like 3 months total this year. So it was a long year. Anyway, so that's why I'm hanging out here. I'm going to cook later. I'm going to do something. I don't know what. Maybe some mac and cheese. I might make pasta carbonara. Maybe I'll do that. Yeah, so this is where we're at, and that's okay. But anyway, so that's not what this is about. So I thought I would just take an opportunity to share some progress on my fitness/weight loss journey. I just got done with a 6-week, challenge per se, using the Zone diet, which I'm really enjoying. Like, it gives me a little bit more flexibility than counting macros. Like, I don't know. It's just different. But I wanted to put up some progress pictures because the scale kind of fucks with your head, right? You don't see necessarily progress from day to day or even week over week, right? But then when you start to look at body composition, and I have always struggled with things like DEXA scans and in bodies and different things because I have a lot of scar tissue in my body from the surgeries that I've had. And I feel like there's a little bit of interference there. So no matter what, like my body fat always comes back the same. Like I could lose 10 pounds and it'll tell me my body fat's the same. Or, I'm like, okay, so that means I'm losing, every time I lose weight, it's all muscle then or water? Like what is happening here? And then I have other friends that are like, oh yeah, I, didn't eat carbs for a month and I lost 18 pounds of body fat and gained 18 pounds a month. I'm like, like how is it showing you those numbers? Like I never get those numbers. So anyway, so I did take some pictures, which I never do. So I'm going to put pictures of myself in my underwear on the internet. Sorry, Mom. And you guys can see like the change over 6 weeks. So I'm going to go ahead and insert those right here. And I have a little bit of like body dysmorphia, I would say, from losing weight, which is very common. So I don't necessarily see the difference all the time when I look at these. And so, but I can definitely tell like something is different, especially around like my waistline. And then like you can kind of see it's like things are kind of cutting in a little bit, definitely less bloated, all of that nonsense. So I'm pretty happy with that. Like I'm glad I did photos because if you look at the scale, like my weight's only trended down, I think 3 pounds in 6 weeks. And so it's like, oh, what's that? So obviously there's a little bit of recomposition going on, which is good. I'm happy with that. My goal for over the holidays is not to like get so off track, right? That, I start January out back where I started. Like it's a pretty good goal. Anyway, so what comes next? I am looking into, and I think I said this in my last video, changing things up a little bit. Getting myself in a better deficit, which is now, this is the time to do it because we're going into what we call the open season. It's a little less strength orientated and a little bit more metabolic conditioning orientated. So I don't necessarily need as many calories to make it through, although it will feel like that because conditioning makes you hungry. So does weightlifting, but conditioning especially, right? So that is the plan, is to work with my coach, figure out like what makes the most sense, right, for this particular cycle. And then, kind of back the nutrition into that and then see what we get, right? I still have a goal of, 175. So I'm on my way there. I'm like 15 pounds away from that right now. I was hoping to be a little bit closer to like 185 by the end of next week. I'm at 190 right now. I don't know if I can pull that off. Like that's a pretty big jump for me. So, but hoping to be in the 180s by the end of this month and then be in the 170s by the end of January. And then once about, 175 or so around Valentine's Day. So we're still trending towards that. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. It's going to be tough, but we're going to do it. And then start working on building some more strength, especially in my upper body for gymnastics related purposes. Yeah. Anyway, so that's all I've got for you. So I just wanted to give that quick little update. I'm not going to stand here and talk for a half an hour. Yeah, because it's Christmas. Yeah. Anyway, so I hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. Stay dedicated to your goals during the holidays. I know it's super easy to get off track. But you owe it to yourself, right? Do it for yourself. Be selfish. Do it for yourself. Don't go into the new year starting over. Like, it's not worth it. It's not worth putting yourself through that like mental anguish, to be starting over working towards your goals. So anyway, I hope you have a fantastic Christmas if you celebrate. I just spit. Did you see that? That was probably pretty obvious. Ooh, sorry guys. Have a fantastic new year and I will see you guys again soon. Bye.